So let's read the question. Line segment AB is parallel to another line segment CD. So AB over here is parallel to line CD over here. O is the midpoint of AD. Over here is the midpoint of AD. O is the midpoint of AD means the distance from O to A is the same as the distance of from O to D. That means OA is equal to OD. I repeat, O is the midpoint of AD. That means OA is equal to OD. Now based on this, we have to show that triangle AOB is congruent to triangle DOC, 1, and next O is also the midpoint of PC. So let's begin. So the first step is always mark what is given to you in the figure. So we're given AB is parallel to CD, so you can use this symbol over here. AB is parallel to CD. Next, O is the midpoint of AD. O is the midpoint of AD, that means OA is equal to OD. So these two things are given to us. Based on this, we have to show that these two triangles are congruent and O is also the midpoint of BC. O is the midpoint of BC means OB is equal to OC. So what this basically means is that O is also the midpoint of BC. If O is the midpoint of BC, that means OB will equal to OC. So we have to show OB is equal to OC. This is what this basically means. So now, how do we go about it? See, first step is mark what is given to you in the figure. Next, write it down. So write down what is given to us. OA is equal to OD and AB is parallel to CD. Do mention in bracket this over here is given to you. Now we have to show that these two triangles are congruent. So now the moment you see two parallel lines and a transversal, see AB and CD are parallel lines. What are the transversal? AD is a transversal, BC is a transversal. So the moment I see two parallel lines and a transversal, what do I know? Corresponding angles are equal, alternate interior angles are equal, and interior angles on the same side of the transversal are supplementary. So what do we have over here? See, this angle is equal to this angle. Why? Alternate interior angles. Similarly, this angle is equal to this angle. Again, alternate interior angles. See, alternate interior angles, alternate interior angles. So write it down. So we have angle A is equal to angle D. So angle A, or you can take the 3-letter convention. Yeah, I think one letter is fine. Angle A is equal to angle D and angle B is equal to angle C, right? What is the reason behind this? Alternate interior angles. So you can write over here, alternate interior angles. Correct? Now close the bracket over here. So now in these two triangles, right, these two angles are equal. Now look carefully at point O. Two lines are intersecting here. Whenever two lines intersect, what do we get? Vertically opposite angles. So this angle over here is equal to this angle over here. Notice when two angles are equal, same symbol. These two angles are equal, same symbol. These two angles are equal, same symbol. But none of these three angles are equal, hence different symbol. So these two angles are equal. What is the reason? Vertically opposite angles. So what is this angle over here? Angle AOB. Now see, on the left hand side, we are taking all the parts of triangle AOB. So always begin on the left hand side with the part of triangle AOB. So what is this angle over here? Angle AOB is equal to this angle over here, that is angle DOC. What is the reason? Vertically opposite angles. So now look carefully at the two triangles. What do we have? Two corresponding angles is equal. This angle is also equal and the included side is also equal. I repeat, see, these two angles are equal. These two angles are equal. And what is the included side between these two angles? OA. What is the included side over here? This. So in two triangles, if two corresponding angles are equal and the included side is also equal, I repeat, in two triangles, if two corresponding angles are equal and the included side is also equal, that means the two triangles are congruent. Which criteria? Angle, side, angle criteria. Hence the two triangles are congruent. So this implies the two triangles are congruent. Now, when you have to, prove that these two triangles are congruent, just prove the three corresponding parts are equal. Copy the congruent statement from here. So this implies triangle AOB is congruent to triangle DOC. I repeat, see, we have to prove these two triangles as congruent. We have already done that. So don't worry about writing the congruent statement. It is given over here. Copy it as it is. What is the criteria we've used? Angle, side, angle. So ASA congruence rule. So ASA congruence rule. So we're done with the first part. We have shown the two triangles as congruent. Now let's move on to the second part. So I'll call this over here the first part. Second part. In the second part, we have to show O is also the midpoint of BC. So if O is the midpoint of BC, that means OB should be equal to OC. So that is what we have to show. So how do I show that OB is equal to OC? Simple. When two triangles are congruent, all the three corresponding sides are equal. So we have to show that OB is equal to OC. So how do we get that? From the congruence statement. So copy the congruence statement once again. Triangle AOB is congruent to triangle DOC. You can mention bracket from part 1. So from part 1. Now we want to get the side corresponding to OB. So how do we get it? Write 1, 2, 3 over here. Write 1, 2, 3 over here. I want the side corresponding to OB. So search for OB. OB is what? Second and third letter here. So second and third letter will correspond to second and third letter here. What is second and third letter here? OC. So OB, second and third letter corresponds to second and third letter here, that is OC. What is the reason? CPCT, that is corresponding parts of congruent triangles. So OB is equal to OC. What does this mean? OB is equal to OC. This implies, see, these two sides are equal. What does that mean? That means O is the midpoint of BC. So this implies O is the midpoint of BC, which is exactly what we had to prove. So you can write with a lot of confidence, hence proved. So hence proved. So this is how you solve this question. So let me do a recap. First step is always mark in the figure what is given to you. Now we have to show these two triangles as congruent. So let's try to get everything, corresponding parts we can as equal. So the moment I see two parallel lines in a transversal, simple, alternate interior angles are equal, alternate interior angles are equal. Next, at this point, two lines are intersecting, so vertically opposite angles are equal. Now look at these two triangles. Angle, angle, side, side, angle, angle. So by ASA criteria, these two triangles are congruent. Done with the first part. Second part, we have to show O is the midpoint of BC. That means we have to show OB is equal to OC. How do I get that? We just saw that previously these two triangles are congruent. That means all the three corresponding sides are equal. Now we already know that this side corresponds to this. How do we know if this side corresponds to this? Go to your congruence statement. Search for OB. OB second and third letter. This will correspond to second and third letter here. So what is second and third letter here? OB. This corresponds to second and third letter here, that is OC. So from the congruence statement we get OB is equal to OC, CPCT. Corresponding parts of congruent triangle. So if OB is equal to OC, that means this length is equal to this length. That means O is the midpoint of BC. Hence proved. Right? So this is how you solve this question.